So John Cena's career is winding down, and with his heel turn heating up, you got to ask, how does it end? Welcome back to another episode of Wrestling's Hot Takes, presented to you by Official Nerd Broadcasting and hosted by your one and only boy, RC, otherwise known as Romy. See, I've gotten really good at that. Thank you for joining me again today, and today I want to do something a little different. Now, for the last few videos, we've really been focusing on my top 5 favorite superstars, or the 7 stars that'll be number 1 according to AI by 2030, or even other charts as what if matches that could have been possible. But today I wanted to tackle and talk about a subject matter that is more recent and more concrete in what's happening today in the landscape of professional wrestling. And that is the heel turn of John Cena. See, John Cena has always been an icon, and to many people, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, including massive names like The Rock and Michael Cole, and I can't believe I just said Michael Cole's up there. Yeah, sure he is. He's one of the greatest. But to a lot of people, John is considered the greatest of all time. And in fact, in my previous videos, which you can check up here, I have mentioned how I used to love wrestling, fell out of wrestling, came back into wrestling, the fold, and all of it. And the truth is, when I left wrestling, we had the doctor of thugonomics. And as I was leaving, the ruthless aggression really began, and John Cena won his first title at WrestleMania 20 from, I believe, Big Show was the United States Championship, and we started to see the ascension of John Cena. And then when I came back into wrestling, John was still a good guy, the great guy. In fact, he was number 1, as expected. He was on top of the totem pole and the chain, and people loved John. But by the time I came back to wrestling, people also hated John. Some had disdain for John. But when I came back, thanks to CM Punk and the Pipe Bomb, he was having an incredible run against CM Punk and other opponents like The Rock and things like that. The truth is, when I came back into wrestling and in the fold, I was expecting John Cena to at least have turned heel by then. There were so many opportunities. Take, for example, the summer of Punk. We could have seen that happen, and it would have been glorious. We could have seen it happen at WrestleMania 28 against The Rock, or even after that when he was going up against The Authority and Brock Lesnar and all those other opportunities that were given to him. In fact, if you think about it, the night after WrestleMania 28 would have been a perfect opportunity to have him turn heel. Brock Lesnar came back, and he was revered and cheered by the fans. And John was already heavily hated. So great opportunities always presented itself, but John never pulled the trigger. And the truth is, the guy at the top, Vinnie Mac, never pulled the trigger because John was the ultimate babyface and the biggest merchandise seller. And from a business perspective, you have to respect that. It makes sense. The truth is, I never liked that. And there were heel turns teased here and there, but it never came to fruition. Now, fast forward to 2025, Elimination Chamber. We have that weird, awkward angle with Cody Rhodes selling his soul to The Rock. And as somebody that was present in the crowd, that got to see John Cena's heel turn firsthand, in person, it was incredible. It was unforgettable. And while the entire crowd was in shock and in awe, many people, many grown men, dressed like John Cena from head to toe in Fruity Pebbles gear, no disrespect, John is the greatest, we're in shock, and everybody was like, oh my God. But me and my cousin, who were in the audience, we were the loudest, cheering, chanting. We were excited to see that heel turn. We were happy to see it. And it was vicious. The beatdown he gave Cody, him and The Rock posing with each other, was incredible. I walked out of Elimination Chamber that night, got in my car with a giant smile, and I couldn't wait to see what was going to happen from that. Fast forward to May 2025. Saturday Night Main Event just passed this past weekend. And his heel run has been rather lackluster. Maybe that's the term I want to go with. Now, hear me out before you say, oh, you don't get it. I do get it. John's objective here is to ruin wrestling. And he has a disdain for the fans that jeered him and booed him and also cheered him. You know, let's go Cena. Cena sucks. He can't wrestle. He can wrestle. All that stuff. It just doesn't feel like a good enough reason for him to be a heel. Now, that being said, my objective today is to fantasy book the rest of his heel run or his entire run that remains in the WWE. He only has 23 dates left. And with the dates that were there beforehand, I believe 30, I feel like a lot of them were wasted. Now, again, let's go back to Elimination Chamber. It changed. He turned into a heel. He comes back, gives his reasoning behind why he's a heel now. And the biggest upset for everybody post Elimination Chamber was the lack of a follow-up to him selling his soul to The Rock. That's number one. That's already a problem. And according to the interview with Pat McAfee, The Rock said he wasn't necessary at that time. The final boss had played his part in selling tickets at Elimination Chamber, as requested by the TKO board of directors, the board, but he said his part was done, which means John was left on his own to pursue this heel angle. And thus far, as I mentioned before, it hasn't been great. If you look back at it, his match at WrestleMania 41, for many people, including myself, very lackluster. Now, I get it. John might have ring rust. He's got to be careful. He's an actor. I respect all of that. Trust me. But it was a slow-paced match and almost as if he wanted to ruin wrestling, because that's what he did. And the part that kills me about that match is that Cody, who was basically Superman a year before that in the Bloodline Rules match, would kick out of everything, couldn't kick out of a title shot to the head from John Cena and a low blow and a pin. And I get it. That's storytelling. That's what they wanted to do. Fine. Fast forward a month later, we get the long-awaited final match between Randy Orton and Cena. I will say it was a better paced match. It seemed like Cena was more in his element than before, and those two have pretty decent chemistry in the ring together. That being said, more fast-paced, good match, ended with a lot of hoopla at the end, which was, in my opinion, very unnecessary. But they did something very strategic. They had R-Truth, Ron Killings, come in and try to stop Randy from kicking from kicking Cena's head off. Whoa. And it worked, right? That was the whole plan, and he took advantage, and great. Randy Orton loses, Cena walks out again as champion. But that night, we started to see the page turn a little bit. Cena started looking at the title, questioning if he's doing the right thing the way he's doing it. I get it. Fast forward to the press conference that night, he puts R-Truth through a table using the attitude adjustment. And for the early 2000s kids, you know it as the FU. And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, we get John Cena versus R-Truth at Saturday night's main event, which we just saw this past weekend. And I got to say, I really enjoyed that match. It was fun, right? R-Truth came out as John Cena in the old school John Cena gear, and it said Ron Truth. It was just awesome. It was really fun, and it's exactly what I expected to happen. But we saw something else happen during that match. We saw the second chapter, and John questioning if he's doing the right thing. Halfway through the match, he was going to use the title on Truth to knock him out, but he didn't. And they both looked at each other in the face, and Truth knew he was getting to John finally. Now, however, the referee took the title and John gave him a low blow and attitude adjustment, wins the title. He's still a heel. That same night, he interacts with Jey Uso, passing each other in the hallway, and then he interrupts the match between Logan Paul and Jey Uso and does a full beatdown on Jey. To nobody's surprise, or maybe to some people's surprise, not mine, I had a feeling this was going to happen, Cody Rhodes comes back out to help his boy Jey Uso and defend him against Logan Paul and John. And they also announced that next month at Money in the Bank, they're going to have a tag match with Logan Paul, John Cena versus Jey Uso versus Randy Orton. Sorry, Cody Rhodes, my apologies. Somehow that doesn't hit. As somebody that really wants to see John carry out the remainder of his heel run epically, if that's the word I can use, I would have loved to see John versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank. Let's do it back one more time. Let's make history repeat itself. But this time, John's truly the heel and Punk is the face. Because if they had that match, you could also see a third layer here where John, halfway through that match, might consider he's not doing the right thing. And Punk would help him through that process maybe and bring him back to a babyface. But we're not getting that. Now, I get it. You got to elevate the new talent. And look, as much as you might hate Logan Paul, he is just so damn good at what he does. So this tag match is to not only elevate Logan, but also Jey Uso, and take it easier on Cena's body, which makes sense. Peacemaker Season 2 is coming out in August. I'm sure there's a ton of promotional stuff he has to get out of the way, and he's still shooting movies, right? We got to understand that balance for this individual. But nonetheless, I'm still heartbroken that we're not getting that match. And if it was up to me, man, I would have loved to seen him put over talent like LA Knight, maybe even have a one-on-one match with Austin Theory again, maybe have a match with Jey Uso. Because listen, not a lot of people are bought into Jey on the internet, not in the real world. In the real world, people love Jey Uso. But having that extra step or that extra, nudge from Cena might have really helped. So who knows what's going to happen after that. But if it's up to me, the way I see it, come SummerSlam, this is how I'd play out the rest of his retirement. SummerSlam 2025, we have a rematch between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. As the match is happening for the WWE title, Cody Rhodes has the upper hand. Maybe John has the upper hand. Actually, I would say Cody has the upper hand. And John's down and out almost. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening in the ring. And cue the final boss's music. The Rock hits. The Rock comes down. The crowd is going nuts. Maybe Travis Scott is with him. For the people that don't like Travis Scott, he's not with him. They walk down and he's about to help John. Maybe with the title belt, maybe with a chair. But John stops it. And he questions himself. And he says, what am I doing again? And then out of nowhere, Cody Rhodes uses that opportunity and hits John with the title, maybe with the maybe with the chair, courtesy of The Rock. The Rock smiles at him. Cody smiles at him. Bam. Crossroads on a chair. 1, 2, 3. Cody wins the title again, but this time, Cody has become the heel. And he sold his soul to The Rock because he wants it all. And John looks really confused, very confused. Fast forward to Monday Night Raw. John says he wanted to ruin wrestling for everybody, but he starts to come to his senses and realizes this might not be the right path. And he's got to consider some things. Maybe goes away, maybe for another month and a half, considering he's only got limited dates. Remember, after this weekend's Saturday Night Main Event, he's only got 23 appearances. So we have to be very mindful and cognizant of how we do this. That being said, maybe he comes back the next month to the PLE that's happening and saves whoever the babyface is from a beatdown from Cody and The Rock. And then we get to see the return of babyface Cena. Fast forward a little bit more, maybe he just ends up being that babyface, starts having general matches, maybe starts having matches with guys like Carmelo Hayes and whatnot. And then finally, by the end of the year, let's just say he gets his farewell ovation, the goodbye in December from the crowd, from the people backstage, from his peers. John Cena's thanked heavily. He does his thing, but walks away as a babyface. And I think it's imperative that John walk away from this as a babyface instead of a heel. I don't think we want to remember John as a heel in his last run. And I'm one of the people that actually really like the black and white, intro and just this whole monotone individual. It's cool, but it's not John Cena. So maybe in December, he has a few matches, great matches prior to that, and he walks away, thank you, bows down, does his thing, and John is revered as the greatest, which would be a great ending. However, I think it'd be even cooler if John disappears in January, come the Royal Rumble, number 30 is John Cena, and he wins the Royal Rumble. Hear me out before you lose your stuff. Hear me out. John wins the Rumble. Surprise, he says he's going to do it one more time. But instead of winning the title at WrestleMania, he inserts himself in the Elimination Chamber. And in the Elimination Chamber, he manages another win for maybe the WWE title or the World Heavyweight Championship. In my opinion, it'd be better to give some glory to the World Heavyweight Championship. It just brings it to the forefront, and more people will start to appreciate and put that title on a pedestal. And then he walks into WrestleMania 42 against whoever is the top contender at the time. Hopefully it's somebody younger, and he puts them over. And I think that would be an incredible send-off for John Cena in his final year with the WWE. Now, I know he's supposed to end his career in December, but you can't tell me that the WWE won't pull off something random or something that might surprise the world. They're good at that. And with Triple H at the helm, I know some of you are upset with his writing right now, but I could see that coming to fruition. And I think that'd be really cool. The truth is, and everybody watching this and everybody at home, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe some of you are bought into it, I'm really not sold on this ideology of him being a heel because the crowd turned on him. I get it. It was probably a pivot in the last moment. And based on the interview with McAfee, it sounds like John, Hunter, and Dwayne came to this agreement right before Elimination Chamber. They thought this was the right move because Cody didn't want to turn heel. But so far, it's been lackluster, as I said. And we can already see the cracks. And we can see John starting to become a good guy again, become that babyface, question his motives. So I think that would be an incredible way to cap off John Cena's career and send him off into Hollywood and always revere him as the greatest of all time. The cool thing is, with this fantasy booking element, him winning the title one more time just puts him at number 18. You get that extra oomph. And I know for the Randy Orton fans, you might be upset because you want Randy to either tie Cena or overcome him, which is possible. We don't know that. But I think if John's going to be considered the greatest of all time, he should have 18 wins for the title to his name. So how do you think John should end his career? Should he end it as a babyface? Should he end it as a villain? One last title run? I don't know. What's your thoughts? Put your fantasy booking in the comments below. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to share it in our next video. This could go many ways, but for me, I got to see John end up on top as a babyface once again. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. He wants to be NWO Hogan, and maybe for some people that moment existed at Elimination Chamber. I know it did for me at that moment. But right now, I want good guy John back. And I'm not going to be satisfied till I see that, to be honest with you. Again, let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. Thank you again for joining us on Romy's Wrestling Hot Takes one more time. And please check out the shorts. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that share button if you like this type of content. We're trying to produce more every week. But nonetheless, thank you guys for hanging with us. We'll catch you at the next one. Peace.